Student athletes Jaden Henley and Owusu-Anane, Coach Bryce Drew. Coach, we'll start with you. Get some thoughts on tonight's game.
Really proud of these two guys, two tremendous players, all league players, and they were the heart and soul of our team all year. And so I hate for them to go out, obviously like this, but proud of their effort, what they've done all year. For the game, a really good game back and forth. I think the difference is free throw shooting. Especially you get to March, you got to make free throws. We had that stretch in the second half. We went 2 for 9. It was a front end, or 2 for 10. If you shoot like you should, and 7 or 8 of those you make, we have a 5-6 point lead, and we have momentum, and they're chasing us. And it was devastating for us, not only from missing them point-wise, but also emotionally. When you go 2 for 10, basically with the one-on-one in the meat of the game, when you're trying to take control of it.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the student athletes?
Hey guys, I'm curious from a playing perspective, how hard is it to play in a game like that? Obviously a lot of pressure, but with the constant stoppages and all the fouls, I think they said it's the most free throws in a conference tournament game for the Mountain West. How hard is that to kind of stay in the rhythm offensively and defensively?
I don't think that really had a big effect for us, the stoppage and stuff. At the end of the day, you got to be able to knock down free throws in crunch time, like Coach said, in March. So, tonight we were about 65%. So, yeah.
Bringers with the Mountain West. Can you guys just talk about the fan presence tonight? A lot of fans obviously traveled well, and in your first game in this conference tournament ever in this program's history, you really did rival the best that this conference has to offer.
Yeah, I think us as players, we can speak all day on our fan support, our school support, the support from the community. Words can't describe what they do for us as a program. Like the way they travel, the way they support us, whenever they see us, even when they don't see us. It's tremendous. You guys saw it today. For them to come out the way they did, it's spectacular. It's amazing.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Okay, we'll let them go at this time. We'll keep going for a little bit. So
Appreciate it.
thank you guys. Questions for the coach?
Touched on it already, but how does the way that you coach your team change when it turns into a game like this?
It doesn't. You still coach the same way. Obviously, the fouls and it's hard to get a rhythm, and you hate it when the best players are out of the game. Price is all league, Henley's all league, and you hate it when you're sitting them on the bench, and especially in the conference tournament, they're not playing. So, that stinks, I think, from a coaching standpoint, and from a spectator standpoint. You want to see the best players in the league on the court for most of the game. Jaden getting his second call really hurt us. We were building a lead, and he was playing really well. And that second call that we had to bring him out, that let them kind of get some momentum going into halftime. So, and then it comes down to free throw shooting contest. Again, this is where the game was won. You can take every stat out the window. You can take play calling out the window. It turned into a free throw shooting contest, and their free throw shooting was better than our free throw shooting tonight.
Can you just reflect on the challenges and what you're most proud of for this team and this program, joining this conference, doing what they were able to do, and this conference is very, very talented.
Yeah, great league, and we're thankful to be in it. And I think we climbed up. We're the 6th best conference in the country. I want to say last year we were somewhere 14 to 16, so it was a big jump. And we tied for 3rd, and we were, like I said, less than 5 minutes away from being the number 1 seed and winning the league if we win that game at Utah State, which we had a lead, under 5. And so I'm really proud of these guys. They showed good resiliency all year. Just when we looked like we were out, they come back and win games. And so I really credit their character and their resiliency to bounce back. And unfortunately, this wasn't one of our finest performances tonight. And you hate that to end on not one of your finest performances, but sometimes it's not meant to be. There are a lot of things, roles, different things that somehow found the bottom of the net for them, and ours just seemed to hit the back of the rim and go out.
Coach, it seemed like first half you guys come out and you throw a punch, ton of energy, physicality. That second half, though, it seemed a lot different, especially at the start. What do you allude that to? Was it just like a little bit of a dry spell for you guys?
Yeah, we've been really good coming out at halftime, and I know we exerted a lot of emotion that first half, and they hit a 3 right away. I think we had 3 turnovers in those first few minutes that we dribbled into guys and we weren't strong with the ball and kind of let them get a rhythm. But again, our guys that bounced back, they really bounced back. And during that stretch, it was a 1-point game for them, 1-point game for us, and that's where we missed 7 free throws, where if you make those, again, we have a couple possession lead coming out of that, around that 10-minute mark, and it probably plays out a little bit different just emotionally and how you call your game offensively and defensively at that point. And so that stretch, again, was really, I think, the determining factor.
Also, Kipper obviously had a great night. Can you just talk about maybe the challenge kind of with guarding him? And I know you gave him some problems for a few stretches, but just how good he was.
Yeah, he had some tough shots. I thought our guys did a really good job trailing, contesting, being there. Credit him for being super efficient, 8 for 13, 3 for 5, 8 for 9 from the free throw line. Not only did he score, he was efficient how he did it. And, he has not been shooting the ball that well lately. Weems has been playing, been their leading scorer in their last, 3 games. And so, credit him for making tough shots for most of the night.
With Brian Bach out and Caleb Shaw back just for one game, how much did you feel like the lack of depth affected you? I think the starters were in for at the 13-minute mark on.
Yeah, that's been something we talked about, since we've had the injuries, going out. Caleb wasn't himself. He couldn't move really like he needed to in a game like this. And so that really limits some of his minutes. And then, Will has that veteran experience. He knows how to, guard ball screens. He knows how to box out and rebound. And in a game like this, he could have drawn a lot of fouls, how physical he is, and his defensive presence, just seeing actions. He's seen so many actions for years. And so it definitely hurt, but, it's not the reason, but it definitely, hurt not having him.
Where did you think most of the fouls came from? Was there overplays and reactions, or was it the rotation issue?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at it. Again, there were some key ones. I thought Makai had some really good drives that, we didn't get free throws on. I thought he was really good. And sometimes, just wrong place, wrong time. Ball bounces the wrong way. And I'd have to really go back and look at all the calls. But again, it ended up being a free throw shooting contest, and they made more free throws than us.
Coach, I know it's early, I know it's fresh, but I'm curious just from you, for the program, the interest level of potentially playing in any other postseason basketball with this group.
Yeah, it's something we'll talk with, Jamie Boggs, our athletic director, with President Mueller, and see, what's the best for the program, moving forward. Obviously, the goal is the NCAA tournament, and, in this day, you don't know how long you're going to have guys on your roster, and to be honest, how many guys really want to play if it's not the NCAA tournament. And so we'll evaluate all that. But again, our Ken Palms as high as it's been all year. We were in the high 50s coming this game. Our net was in the 60s. And you always want to go out on a higher note. But again, a lot of good that this team did this year.
And my final question, just obviously a full season of Mountain West play, fall a little bit short here in the tournament. Just kind of how fired up you are to be a part of, a conference, such good basketball, and kind of to get right back at it here this offseason.
Yeah, we definitely learned a lot during the league, just travel again. The style of play, the physicality. Again, we had a whole new group of faces of referees that we haven't seen in 5 years, and so there's just a lot of newness, even newness coming here and being in this tournament. So I think it'll definitely help next year in the preparation before, and also as we roster construct, to see what type of players we really need, what type of lineups we need, to be able to play against teams in this league.
Last question.
Kind of the same big picture, accomplishment-wise, in a transition year to win 20 and tie for third, and that Utah State game separated you from first. How much does that help moving forward in the program?
Really thankful. I thought our seniors came in. They were all first-year guys, and it's hard when you have all seniors that are first-year guys. I thought they really loved GCU. I thought they played for GCU. They represented GCU in the right way, and I think retention's big. We want to retain guys, get them back, for next year. But so many things. I think eyes on GCU helped so much with the TV exposure we got this year. We've heard from people all around the country that didn't realize how good our crowd was. They didn't realize, the players that we had, and I think that exposure, so we can kickstart us to even better things next year.
Okay, thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.